Welcome to Collecting Chaos. My name is James, and it's time for part 2 of the conservation of Our Army at War, number 269. Now, some of you might be wondering why I had that Kollecting paper over it, and it was just to keep dust off of it. That's all it was, because I knew it was going to be a little while before I was working on it again, a day or two maybe, because I had other things I had to get done. So let's see what we've got here. And we'll start by going with the equipment that I'm going to need in order to remove this cover from the book. The first thing I'm going to need is either some small paint brushes. And I have two here. I prefer this one because it's a little bit wide and flat, and I can put what I need to put on the paper spine fairly easy. But something like this is fine too. Anything that's about the width. You don't want to get too much bigger than the width. Smaller is better. If you don't have the paint brushes, I've used these as well. These are cotton swabs. Don't have the cotton swabs with the wooden stick. That's okay, because these will work just as well. You can use anything like that. The next thing we're going to need is this is a label removal tool. This is a plastic label remover, and I prefer to use this. But if you don't have one of these, that's all right. You can go over to Walmart or Target or any place that sells stuff and pick up a cheap plastic. You want to get a plastic one or a nylon one, putty knife, and that'll work also. There's one thing I need to use, and that is the solution that I'm going to use. Now this solution it's distilled, so it's pretty strong stuff, right? It's dihydrous monoxide. That's the scientific name for it. Around here in Texas, we just call it water. H2O. And I'm using distilled water for this. I don't like using distilled water on comics generally because it leaches out too much stuff. But for this, I want to try to keep the tide marks down to a minimum. Even though I'm going to be cleaning it later with water, I want to try to keep them down to a minimum. So let's go ahead and get started right after this. Got to show my little message first. Got to do my intro. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to take this brush and dip it in the water, and we're just going to paint the spine with water. And if that doesn't drive you guys crazy, I don't know what will. And like I said, I could be using a Q-tip for this, or a cotton bud, or my other brush, but I like this brush. And I'm only going to go, well, actually we're going to go all the way down to the bottom, or all the way up to the top. This is something that you can't do a little bit of and then come back to. You need to do the whole thing at one time. And if you notice, I'm going over it a couple of times. I need that water to soak through the cover, or the spine part of the cover, and loosen up the glue. Let's see how we're doing so far. I don't think we're even close to what we need, but we'll try it anyway. Yeah, it hasn't even, it's not even started to, so do that again. And I think I'm just going to keep on doing this part, wetting it slowly, letting it soak in, and I might keep doing that until the camera automatically shuts off on me. And then go down to the next stage, which is, of course, the actual removal. Now, when I wash the cover, and I will be washing it, I'm not going to show that because you've seen it a million times before on a million different channels. All I'll be doing is doing a light soak in a calcium hydroxide with a surfactant. See how that looks now. Yeah, it's starting to come loose. Let me zoom you in a little bit. Whoops, the other way. That's as far as I can zoom you in. And I'll show you what I'm doing. I'm just gently pushing the spine of the cover away from the spine of the book. And you've got to be real gentle doing this because you don't want to tear it. Although even if you do tear it, it's not that big a deal because we are going to fix it. Not much of it came away, but it's getting there. I think I'm going to go from the back side. Try it from this back side here. See how it's starting to loosen a little bit, and I've actually got a little bit of the top off. Let's check the bottom here to see if any of that is going to come loose. Not yet. It's not soaked in enough yet. And I'm actually putting a very small amount of water each time. Sorry about that, I got off screen. It doesn't help when I'm off screen, you can't see what I'm doing, does it? A little bit at a time. Try it again. And the reason I keep trying this and trying to get it to separate is I want to use the least amount of water possible. The top is nearly completely separated. Yeah, the top is good now. Alright, it's starting to get difficult again. And the bottom is starting to separate pretty good. I think I'll show you this. I told you that you could use this as well. And in a way it's a little better because it separates a lot more of it. And sometimes when you're doing this, it tears the paper. And that's because wet paper is weak paper. And we all know this. So we have to be prepared for that. Piece here I need to get off. The piece there needs to come off. I don't want to move it too far. Just like that. Get it back in there. There you go. It is separated. Okay, you didn't see me flip it over because I forgot to turn the camera back on. Hey, I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. I just try not to make too many of them. But I am allowed a certain number of mistakes every day. And I use my allotment. This piece goes in here. And it doesn't want to go in there. Okay. It's separated. It needs a wash. It needs a bath. And I'm going to give it one, but I'm going to do that off screen, and then I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Although I could do it on screen. I have a puppy pad here. And let's see. We're going to cut this in half as soon as I find my monster scissors. Let me go cut this in half and I'll be right back. I'm back. I'm going to zoom out, get the camera centered again, best I can. And first thing I'm going to do is take my cutting board and slide it under. That way I can move that around fairly easily now. And I'll take my half puppy pad, set it down. And the reason I cut it in half is because I don't have room on this table for a whole one, number one. And number two, that allows me to use it for other things. And we're going to dampen this. We're going to get it nice and damp and wet. Or moist, as salesboy would say. But I need to go get my solution. Something I find really annoying is when I forget to turn the camera on and I start working on something. That happened with this. So I went ahead and wetted it down, but that's okay because I'm going to wet it down again. And this is calcium hydroxide and methyl cellulose with a little bit of water. And I have it, actually it was mixed pretty strong, so I diluted it. It came out to a pH 11 before I diluted it, which is not good. Well, actually it's excellent. It's really good. Almost too good. I mean, it only goes up to what, 14? So let's see what it is now. And I'm just going to spray this. Let's set it off to the side for a second, and then I'll spray down this again. And we'll see what we come up with now. Now that I've yeah, it's currently a pH 6, which is pretty, I mean, it's just under neutral. And that's coming out of here. But like I said, that's because I went ahead and took it from what it was originally and diluted it down with water. What you didn't see was I pulled out my large squeegee, which is, it's not really that large, but I pulled this out and went like this, and then went, well, you know, most people don't like me using this, and I did that number. You didn't see that. Because that was on the part that I filmed and I didn't. And then I showed this. This is a smaller one. It's still using the silicone edge, which I really like. And this is so much easier to use. I really like it. I like it a lot. It cost me about $4. Most people seem to like those stiff plastic ones. I'm just not a fan, to be honest with you. I like the silicone better. The silicone edge. It really, it'll move a lot of water. Now I went ahead and set the edge into here that was broken off because that's something I'm going to take care of. I'm going to go ahead and dry this a little bit for a couple hours. I'm not going to dry the whole thing, but I'm going to let it dry for a couple hours in my V-War cold press, and then we'll maybe do a little leaf casting, I don't know, and the other things that I want to do to it. We'll try to make it look better. It's not going to be perfect. I'll have to work on that. But I just want it a little bit drier. Matter of fact, I might let it dry all the way before I start working on it again. Wow. I think I need a new one. I think I need another sheet. There we go. That's torn. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and put another Teflon sheet on top of this and stick it in my press for a while. I think that's going to be it for this video. We'll pick it up on Wednesday. My next video will be released Wednesday. Of course, I'll probably be working on this tonight. But the next video will be on Wednesday, and I'll show you what I'm going to do next. So we'll let this go ahead and dry and end my press, and then we'll come back and revisit it. In the meantime, everybody, have yourself a, you know what? No. I am going to take this and press it, but I'll be back in a couple minutes. Now you might be wondering why I changed my mind and decided to keep working. Well, it's simple. There's an important part that I haven't shown you yet. Because I am going to go through each page and wash each page. But to do that, we have to remove it from the staples. And that isn't always an easy job. So here we go. Got to get that under there and straight up. The same with this side. You know what? That might not be. Let's just go ahead and take this signature off. Yeah, the staple didn't go all the way through that signature. And I called these sections before, but the proper term for them is signature. Yeah, here we go. And the easiest way to remove these is one signature at a time. There we go. And as you can see, this is two wraps. First signature is 2 wraps. So now we'll take the next signature. Gotta be careful with this because it can rip. And then we got to pull it off of that. Very carefully pull it away from the glue. That's the second signature off. This one is a little easier. And that might be enough that I can go ahead and push those staples out. Yeah, this is the bottom staple. So where's my little staple holder? Bottom is no longer Cisco Kid. I'll change the name on that when I have a pen handy. Actually, I have one right here. And then the top. These are not round staples like most comic staples are. These are somewhat flat, a little stiffer than other staples. So should be easier now to separate these, but it's not going to be. This one's tearing a little bit. Doesn't want to come off. Does not want to separate from the glue. That's bad. But it can be done without too much trouble. I'd like to just be able to peel that glue right off of there. It's kind of rubbery. It's almost feels like a PVA. Let's lost my mouse. Let's use this and see if it doesn't make it a little easier. Yeah, I tore it. I tore it. That's alright. We're going to fix it. It will all be just fine when I'm done. This one really doesn't want to come off. Not too many left. Okay, we got a few tears in there that are going to have to be fixed. And that's because this stuff just, it's nasty. Really don't like this glue that they used. This is one of the hardest parts right here. This is a whole lot harder actually than taking the cover off. I'm going to put this over here. And we're going to go to the back side and see if that's easier. We got 1, 2, 3. 4. See if that'll come off a little bit easier. Oh yeah. Nice. It's important. Oh, this is a big signature here. Do I have too many? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. So you have to be careful. I miscounted and ended up tearing one of the signatures. See, I tore that. That's because I wasn't careful. Something that I did, and this is a bad habit of mine. I see a folded page and I unfold it. Don't do that. Humidify it, then unfold it. You don't want to be unfolding dry pages because it's not good for them. It can actually cause damage to it. And I got it separated, but at some point my my camera decided it didn't want to work anymore. So we're going to have to get this big chunk off of here. I'm going to do that later when I get to this piece. I'm thinking when I soak it, it might loosen up and let go. At least that's the hope. All of these pages will get washed. They are in signature order. So this is the first signature. So I'll be doing this page, or this wrap, and then this wrap, and then I will set the signatures together and fold them the way they're supposed to be. And I'll probably go ahead and do a little leaf casting up here. So that's it. That's how to disassemble a square bound book. Take your time, be careful, and try not to rip too many wraps the way I did. But it's all repairable. It'll all be fine when I'm done. That's going to be it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. And the next one's going to be fun. Stay tuned. Bye.